Now, OECD has come with tax revenues and a problem with the tax system. OECD has helped the crackdown on the tax evasion and avoidance, leading to the increase of tax revenues and a fair global tax system. Let's take the example we discussed that 10% in India, 20% in America, in any other country like 40%. So, what the business people will do and what the people will do, they will migrate to a certain to country where there is no tax systems, and people will be more towards a tax system. Why? Because they are earning for themselves, and why they will pay to the government. But this amount is essential for maintaining a sustainable growth, and for tax is essential for maintaining a good government, good infrastructures across the country, and for making a good step towards the eradicating the poverty and a good infrastructure in terms of roads, in terms of research. So, we need a tax system to conduct these studies. Now, if there is a no tax system, what will happen? The people will go a country when there is a no tax, but no government can be run without a tax. So, tax is essential for running a government, for running a country, for running a economy, for running a world. That's why the tax is mandatory in every country, whether it is a direct system or indirect system. In certain countries, there is no income tax, but they are paying tax directly on their commodities. For example, they are buying or they are purchasing anything from morning to evening, they are paying the indirect tax. They are not giving the income tax, but they are giving a high tax on their commodities. For example, soap, toothpaste, on daily consumable items or non-consumable items, TV, whatever they are buying, they are paying a high tax. Let's take an example of the UAE and Saudi Arabia and Middle East, they are paying indirect tax. But in India, we have a direct and indirect taxes, and Canada and America, they have a direct and indirect both taxes. So, we cannot say the tax is not in those countries, but the tax is there, but in direct form. So, you are not filling the income tax, but you are paying the more tax indirectly. Thus, the one of the myth we can clear that there is a tax system in every country. Now, India is a key partner of OECD with 100 countries. How it is benefiting to our country? We have we have automatic exchange of information AEOI with the Switzerland government. Now, this agreement allows the other government secretary, directors and higher officials directs exchange of information on tax information and how the data is maintained in their banks. For example, the many businessmen who earn in India can deposit their money to their Swiss bank. For we have the agreement with the Swiss government annually is sharing the data of the person indigenous to India. So, those who are living in India and submitting the amount Indian amount in the Swiss bank, we have the data, we can access and we can use that data for the tax evasions and the tax revenues. So, nobody is beyond. So, now we are getting a significant importance of OECD in our country. We are the key partner, we are not the founding members, but we are the key members. How we are benefiting with this OECD guidelines in tax system. Now, the objective of OECD. OECD, the object to promote the global trade and the work towards the sustainable economic growth, to improve the standard of living of people living in the member countries, to maintain the financial stability, to contribute to the development of world economy. These are the major 4 objectives of the OECD. Standardization and harmonizations. First is standardization, second is harmonizations. Standardization means why the standardization is done. Somebody is making a tea using milk, water, some sugar and some tea leaves. Another person is making tea with different ratio. One is getting a good quality of tea, other is not getting a good quality of tea. Let's take an example. Some making a food with the same ingredients, and other is making with the same ingredient, but the ratio is different, but they are not getting a good taste. So there is a difference in the standardization, there is a difference in the ratio. In the similar, if we are making a drugs, we are making some medicines with some concentrations as per the protocol, we should make as per the protocols, like 250 mg ciprofloxacin. So it should be 250. In India we are making 250, in other country they are making 300, and in other country they are making the 500. It become a challenge for the users how to consume these medicines. For this we need standardization and a process that is called the harmonizations. Now OECD is responsible for making the guidelines, ensuring the studies conducted in different countries follow the same protocols, and harmonization is essential for the regulatory approval and international trade, as it allows for the acceptance of data generated in one country by another country. Now, today, 23rd June 2025, today I am planning a study for anti-cancer activity of tulsi. What I will do? I will extract the tulsi, and first of all standardization of the tulsi plant, the leaves, the chemical ingredients, and how I will perform the chemical ingredients, and how I can quantify, how I can say the tulsi has contained the UGL, to which instrument can be used. First, so these guidelines are dictated by the OECD. OECD will tell how we can prepare the extract of the tulsi, that is Ocimum sectum. Ocimum sectum is used for healing the and certain ailments, like it can be used for anti-asthmatic, immunomodulators. So how now we have the drug identified as a anti-asthmatic. Now we want to conduct the trial, we want to standardize the chemical quantity of this. Now what we will do, as per the OECD guidelines, we will conduct the study, and once the study is conducted in India as per the OECD guidelines, now the study is conducted in India as per the protocol of the OECD. Now we are the key partner of the OECD. This whole data can be used in any other country as per the OECD guidelines who are the members. Why? Because we conduct the study as the OECD guidelines, and there is no replication of the data, and the data is safe. As we conduct the study, we conducted the study as per the OECD guidelines. Now it means OECD is also helping for reducing the deterrent of duplicacy. Improved safety and assessment help the identify the risk to human health and the environment. Anything we are watching, whatever we are watching in this room, everything is made by some chemicals, and chemicals has a certain risk and some side effect to our body. For this, the OECD makes certain guidelines for conducting the toxicity study and the safety study. How we can touch this remote, how we can touch our camera, these walls, these are made with a certain chemicals, and certain chemicals can be carcinogenic, tetragenetics, and cause a chronic or acute toxicity to our human body. So this allows for the informed decisions. It means it allows how much we use these concentrations that can be used publicly, how much chemical we can use for making some product, so that this cannot be harmful for the common public, and this is used for the regulation of the new products. The most important in healthcare science and pharmaceutical science, particularly the preclinical studies guided by the OECD principle. They are known as a good laboratory practice, GLP, good laboratory practice. These are the set of the guidelines are crucial for generating the data needed to support the investigational new drug application. Now, a new term has been introduced to you, the investigational new drug applications. Investigational new drug. When a drug is passed from preclinical studies, the drug is to be administered in human volunteers. For that, application is filed to the FDA, Food, Drug and Administration Office. That application has a certain data of the drug. First is chemical data of the drug, chemical structure, chemical moiety. First is the in silico studies of the molecule. What is the in silico studies? Next is the in vitro studies. How the data, how is this useful, how it is causing the effect in vitro. Next is the in vivo study. In vivo study considering certain animal studies, and animal studies including the acute toxicity, chronic toxicity and particularly the pharmacology of the molecule. Pharmacological studies includes the dose of the drug, route of the administrations, pharmacokinetic and the pharmacodynamic parameters. Pharmacokinetic parameters include the absorption, distribution, eliminations and the metabolism, how the drug is absorbed in the body. So, this is essential for the investigation. After the absorption, the distribution of the drug is distributed in the body, whether it is reaching to liver or not, whether it is reaching to brain or not, it is targeting the tumor or not. So, this data is essentials. After entering into the body, the showing the effect or not, metabolism is happening or not. For that reason, we need investigational new drug application. Whole data of preclinical studies is required for filing the investigational new drug application. Apart from it, we need certain special studies. For example, tetragenicity, mutagenicity and developmental and reproductive toxicities studies. Now, what is this term? The tetragenicity. Tetragenicity is a term used when a drug is ingested by any pregnant lady, and this will cause a harm to their fetal, and fetal may got some abnormalities in their in that womb. For the pregnant population is selected so that we can conduct the tetragenicity. Apart from it, mutagenicity means any drug, any chemical moiety that is causing the cancer to a individual. For that, we need to conduct the mutagenicity. Apart from is reproductive and developmental studies. Any drug which is administered to special population, especially for the pregnant women, may cause some harm to their fetus. For that reasons, we need to perform the developmental and reproductive studies. Now, these studies help determine the safety dose. What should be the safety dose? Why we are taking the 50 mg? Why we are not taking the 500 mg? So, who is telling this dose is safe? The OECD principle and OECD guidelines are evolved for those safety doses. What is the lethal dose? Why we can eat only a drug once a day? How? We are taking one antibiotic in a day, 500 mg. However, we are taking the paracetamol 650 or 1 gram thrice a day. So, why it is discrimination? Why this is disharmonizations? Because of the safety of the dose, safety of the drug. The administration, what should be the route? Some are some drugs are administered through the oral route. We are using the tablet, syrup for kids, for capsules, but some tains are given through the IV, intravenously, intramuscularly SC. For example, the insulin is given the SC. Why we cannot eat the insulin directly? It is very convenient because of the damage to the insulin. If insulin is given to the orally, they can be degraded by the gastric juices. Procedures, what are the procedures and how it is collaborated? Procedures mean the SOPs for conducting any diagnostic tools. For example, conducting the blood test, what should be the procedures for a serum, for a blood test, for the CBC, whether it should be clot or not clot. It should be already written as per the data validations, and monitoring the plans for the clinical trials. The trials is conducting so only monthly basis, weekly basis and annual basis, the monitoring the plans for the clinical trials. This is the all work of the OECD guidelines. Now, the another important parameter is reduce redundant testing. acceptance of OECD compliant data across the countries, eliminating the duplicate testing. As I had given you, for example, today I am testing a drug, paracetamol. It is a use for a antipyretic. Antipyretic means a drug which reduce the body fever, which reduce our temperature. Now I perform all the studies, animal studies, clinical trial, all the as per the guidelines conducted by the OECD. If OECD was not there, so what we need to do? Total, we have 200 countries all over the world. So they have to perform the same studies across the nations 200 times. It means more labor will spend, more money will be spent on the same molecule, more animals will lost their life, and more time will be consumed. For that reasons, OECD data, if anyone conducted the study as per the OECD guidelines, that data can be used for any country compiling and following the OECD guidelines. For example, Hungary conduct a study, can we is acceptable to Switzerland, is acceptable to US, is acceptable to Canada. It means America is conducting any study, that study can be adopted and can be get the approval in their European nations country. The benefit is saving time, saving the resources and the animal lives. Now, OECD functions. The OECD functions is to help the governments around the world achieve the following. It is not emphasizing, it is not forcing the governments to adopt their policies, but just to advise, and it is the government will to choose to adopt the policies or not. But they can, OECD cannot force to anyone to adopt their policies. It is a evidence based practice that they are giving the evidence, they are giving their evidence based solutions. If any government use these policies, we can eradicate, or the government can eradicate the poverty, unemployment rate, and achieve a sustainable growth in their country. For that reasons, the OECD gain the improved confidence in markets and the institutions that help them function. Obtain healthy public finances to achieve the future sustainable economic growth. For that reasons, many private sectors and private companies come forward to finance the OECD so that they can achieve a good policies in terms of human well-being and good human index. The OECD achieve growth through the innovations, environmentally friendly strategies, and the sustainability of developing economies. They are making the policies for the developed nations, but they are also considering the developing economies so that they can come to a common platform and they can harmonize their policies for a single methods. Provide the resources for people to develop the skills they need to be productive. Now in India, we are 1.42 billion populations. We require laptops, we require computers, and the technology is evolving. We are chasing the digitalizations, we are using the AI. If thought the AI is not introduced to India, what will happen? We are lacking the skills, we are lacking the behind. The India is adopting the AI, as the AI, artificial intelligence is the future of the world. So we are the developing economy, we are getting the information, we are getting the help with the OECD, we are adopting the certain policies that is good for our country. And for the same reason, the government is formed certain department for conducting the research and analysis on this basis, and they give the solutions for fighting with the poverty, for economic crisis, for the problems we faced in the history and we are facing. For that reasons, we have certain Niti Aayog and other agencies, they are making the policies for us. The policy analysis and advice. The OECD is responsible for the policy analysis and advice. OECD conducts the research globally in nations, within the nations, for targeting a different population group, for a special group, for geriatric needs, for pregnant ladies, for underprivileged children. They conduct the research on different parameters, and after research they conduct the analysis and forecasting on a wide range of the economy. For example, if the data is procured for the employment data. So what is the requirement of the employment, what should be the timing, what should be the salary, what should be the time frame for the duty, and how it is helping for the human well-being. So these are the policy analysis and the advice the government. The time should be 8 hours, 9 hours, weekly 2 days of off, 3 days Saturday Sunday should be off, not working. For the how much days can be availed for the paternal leaves, how much days can be given to maternal leaves, whether we can seek the education leave. These are the policies and the advice are framed by the OECD at a global level. The standard settings. The OECD develops and promotes the standard guidelines and the best practices in various areas such as taxations, anti-corruption, testing methodologies, and apart from it, data collection and dissemination, the capacity building. If any country is for example, we have a 10 trillion economy. So how we can invest our wealth into different sector, how much we should invest in education sector, for example 2 trillion. So why we are investing 2 trillion in education, why we are not investing all the amount in healthcare sector, 3 trillion for sector, of 5 trillion in different sectors. So what should be the sustainable use of the money? So this is the role of the standard settings. So how we can distribute the fund to different sectors to uplift our country, to uplift the economic parameters, and to uplift the human being. So that's why the data is collected by the OECD guidelines and dissemination of the data and capacity building. Now OECD and GLP, yes, the one of the critical principle of the experimental testing of the chemical is called the GLP, that is good laboratory practice, that ensures the experimental data quality and integrity. The experimental perform with the quality, there is no manipulation of the data, there is no biasness the data, and the data is presented has some accountability and integrity. There is no mischievous activity with the data, so that data can be acceptable for scientific reasons, for the scientific solution. Those abiding by the principle of the GLP in one OECD country must be accepted by the other OECD countries for assessment purpose. That's the advantage of the OECD GLP guidelines. The concept of tested once, accepted for the assessment everywhere. Once is accepted, it can be assessment everywhere. Save the chemical industry, it means save the chemical industry means there is a less of water pollutions of duplicating testing for the products marketed in more than one country. One it is marketed in US market, can be sold easily in European market. One it is accepted and approved in European nations, can be accepted in the can be sold in US market. First is test facility. What are the criteria for the OECD principles to get a good GLP, and what are the good laboratory practice? First is the test facility management. Test facility management means the physical structure of the facility, infrastructures required for conducting a research, for review, for conducting any studies related to the policies. It is suitable for studies being conducted and minimize the factor that could compromise the data validity. So what should be the size of the room, what should be the size of the building, what is the material of the facility, what is it should be PVC, it should not be PVC, whether it is the building is made from the concrete, in the area where it is in desert area, in humidify area. So what is the requirement for the test facility management depending on the product productions and the test facility. So first is the physical structure of the facility. So what is required? For example, in India we have a certain area recognized for the manufacturing of drugs. Uttarakhand Sitkal is recognized as a manufacturing of pharmaceutical drugs. In Baddi it is also recognized for the pharmaceutical products. So we have a certain area for the manufacturing of certain drugs. So this is based on these guidelines. The person and the organization. If a person is working in any organization, so what should be the qualification of a person? First is the basic qualification of the chemist and the role of the pharmacist in this organization. clear roles and responsibilities. First is the quality control. How we can control the quality of a sample, how we can control the quality of the finished product, and this is the responsibility of the persons, and it depends on the qualification. What should be the responsibility and what is the qualification of a pharmacist? In India, it is a D Pharm. B Pharm is the qualification of the pharmacist. For a chemist, it should be different. For accountancy, it has a different qualification. So, clearly define the roles and the responsibility for each individuals involving in the process involved in the study. Now, the quality assurance, a dedicated quality assurance unit is required for the GLP process. The SOPs, what are the SOPs? SOPs are the standard operating procedure. It means we have a detailed and written SOPs are essential for all routine procedures, ensuring the consistency and standardization in laboratory practice. Once we will perform procedure as per the SOPs, we can replicate those data anywhere in the world. That is why the SOPs are required, and written SOPs are required so that any individual before, after leaving the organizations or after joining anywhere, we can use these SOPs for a standard and we can come with the same result. A repository and the record keeping, comprehensive and accurate record of all study related activities are required, ensuring the traceability and auditability of the data.